Hello everyone, welcome to Railworks. My name's James and today we're doing another Metcalfe kit. This time we're looking at the Metcalfe Old Factory kit, which is PN187, which does look like a rather nice building. I did have to have a look at this and think, have I actually built this before? But no, there's a few which do look very similar, and in fact it does. No, it doesn't quite suggest them on the back, but yeah, this one can be done either as a standalone building or as a as a low relief building. So you can either have it that way, or you can have it around the corner like that. This is quite nice. Anyway, let's have a look inside. So I'll pop that over there in the bin. So yes, we get the instruction booklet. This tells us what bits we got. So have a quick look here. We've got the sheet A, which has the bits and pieces for building A and B, and also the loading bay, canopy and platform. Sheet B, which has the printed components to make the main factory building. It's a good thing I can read upside down. I've got the grey sheet C, which has got the thick plain card, which is this bit here, to fit inside the buildings to make them nice and strong. The glazing sheet, which is quite obviously the windows, and and also the instruction booklet. And to build the kit, you need a modeller's knife, which I've got my box cutter here. You need a cutting surface, which I've got my blue cutting mat here. A sharp pair of scissors, which I've got. Well, they're not quite sharp, but they will do. There goes the glue. A steel ruler, which I've got one here. Fine point tweezers, which I'm using to point at things here. Metcalfe glue applicator, which I don't bother using because I use my fingers. Watercolor paints to do all the edges, which I don't bother doing either. And also various glues, which I've got my USU glue here as well. Not mentioned is also best thing to use is some bulldog clips. These are quite good at holding things together where your hands can be elsewhere, and also a pencil so you can mark off which piece is what on the grey sheet here. I will be doing. So it looks like they have done some bits here and there with the scoring. Anyway, let's have a look inside. So it tells you about the glues here, painting the edges, which I don't bother doing. And here's all the bits and pieces for the grey card, which I will be doing off camera. It does recommend starting with Windows, which I do also recommend as well. So you start with Windows, and you start with. Let me have a quick look. Yes, you start with one of the. Let me have a look at the thing here. This is the building A, which is the smaller. It's more like a tower building. So you start with that first, and you start putting that all together. That's actually not too difficult. That looks quite easy. And you finish it off over here. Yeah, that's where you finish it off. And then you start working on the big building, which can be made into two pieces to make as a low relief. You start with one of them and you build that up. And then you do the same with the other one, I'm guessing. Door, window. Oh, it's got a few options as well. Yes, it does look like the second building is basically the same. Yes, that's how you do it. Yep, I've understand now. Yeah, you get 3 buildings technically, but 2 of them can be put together to make into a single big building, which is how you get the low relief and all that other lot. So on one of the bigger buildings, you can either have some windows for the back side of if you're having one big building, or you can have some doors, or you can have them on the same as either one, and that's how you make it look bigger and all that lot. Basically, there's a few variations to make it a bit more unique between the two halves. Yeah, so it does tell you which pieces you will need for each of the builds. Very nice. Well, what ones to extract? I'm gonna have a look at it myself now. Yeah, very nice this one, and also a very useful instructions sheet, which I'm very always pleased to see, as it does help work out what things are what, even though it doesn't help me. Anyway, first thing which I'm going to be doing is cutting out all the windows. Doesn't seem to be too many. These are all in doubles, so there's not that many to cut out. Yeah, it's quite nice for me. And I'll be poking out all the holes in my sheet A, just so I can start to work on windows. It doesn't actually look like there's that many windows to do. Let me just have a double check. There's a lot to punch out there. And yeah, that's where they are. Yeah, again, not too many. Anyway, I'm going to start getting to punching out all the holes and getting all the windows prepped up. And then I'll start to work. This may take me a bit longer than an hour, not because it's difficult, just because it's big and bulky. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, I'm going to get to work and I'll see you in a bit. Right, here we are, the finished old factory building. It does look quite nice. Very happy with how it's turned out. I did have to do, well actually I'll talk about how long it took. It took about, probably about an hour and 40. Probably, roughly around that time for completion. But that's mainly because there was a few fiddly bits at the end. And one thing which I did have to do is I had to make my own piece, which was this little bit here. That little... Actually, I'll wait till it comes around again. But yeah, I just need to make a little piece because I realised I put the door on the wrong building. It should have been on this one, not the other one. So the other one should have had the wall, this should have had the door, and the platform would have sat quite nicely here. Unfortunately, I didn't do that. So I had to make a piece just to make the stairs look a bit more normal, and so that the door wasn't straight out onto the stairs. So, yeah, not quite exact, but still it looks alright. But yeah, other than that, yeah, it turned out quite nicely. And plus that piece is now unique. But yeah, very happy with it. I have left the customizable part on the side here, just so that whoever owns this in the end can customize it how they want. And I've also left the pieces to fit it together or make it a low relief feature there as well, because you can still make this a low relief, and yeah, that still works. Yeah, very nice kit. And other than the few fiddly bits, this took the canopy does take a little bit longer than usual, but the rest of it didn't take too long. If you include doing all the windows and all that lot, that probably 2 hours at most. So yeah, not too bad. And also considering that it only cost £12, yeah, it's very nice, reasonably priced kit. What things could you do to improve it? Well, obviously add freight and bits and pieces like that. Maybe something on the roof, I don't know, maybe put a small building on the roof, not too sure. But yeah, as a low relief you can probably have it, you just get it off the turntable. And you've got two buildings like that, and actually that may fit nicely in the middle. Maybe something like that. Who knows? Completely up to the future owner. How am I going to put this? There we go. And that's going to wobble off. The problem with these big kits is that they don't fit on my turntable. There we go. Yeah, still a nice kit. I'll say that other than the few fiddly bits, it's a very straightforward one. Anyway, that's pretty much it for me, and that's actually the end of this series of videos, because after this video I'm actually going to be stopping doing my Metcalfe kit builds and also my scenery kit builds, because well, to be honest, I don't actually use all these pieces, and I think everyone's kind of got fed up with me doing these videos because I've had complaints, but yeah, it's a bit disheartening. But yeah, the other problem is I'm running out of space to store these things, so oh well, yeah, that fits a bit nicely. Anyway, but yeah, that's going to be it for me in this series, and that's it really. So I hope you enjoyed, If you do like the video, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and like I said, hope you enjoyed, and I may do kit builds in the future, but it'll be a lot more sparingly, at least, and maybe something a bit more interesting. Anyway, take care everyone, bye bye.